You're going to go to San Francisco next.
We're going to go to San Francisco. The difference is I think they want us in San Francisco. San Francisco was truly one of the great cities of the world. And then 15 years ago, it went wrong. It went woke. Remember my statement? Anything woke is, and then I used a filthy, well, broke is another word. I used a filthy word, but I didn't. No. I took enough heat on that. I won't say it again, but It's true. I mean, nothing changes, right? But we're going to go to San Francisco, and we're going to make it great. We're going to make it great. It'll be great. Again, San Francisco is a great city.
President Trump on his crackdown in Chicago, Washington, and now San Francisco. In my exclusive interview, the comments sparking a fight among California leaders yesterday and today. Governor Gavin Newsom responded to my interview, writing on X, quote, "Fact check, nobody wants you here. You will ruin one of America's greatest cities," writes Gavin Newsom. But pro golfer Phil Mickelson shot back at Newsom, saying this isn't true at all. We are begging for him to come, save this former great city, and more. Joining me now is Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty. Senator, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Your reaction to this fight that broke out after my interview about San Francisco?
Maria, you have a way of getting these liberals' hair to catch on fire. And Gavin Newsom's got pretty good hair. I think you got him. You got under his skin. But it's exactly right. San Francisco is a great city, just like Memphis, Tennessee. President Trump has been wonderfully supportive of our efforts to clean up Memphis, Tennessee as well. I can't thank enough the leadership of President Trump and the White House. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel has been great. We've been working for months to get the situation in much better shape, and Memphis is now one of the safest cities in America, thanks to the efforts that President Trump has put in place. I think Gavin Newsom should look at that.
You're right. And, you know, I was shocked when Kash Patel earlier this year told me that Memphis is the homicide capital of the country, and President Trump took action immediately, and you say now it's back to being one of the safest cities. It feels like the citizens want the National Guard there. They want to feel safe.
They absolutely want to be safe. And Maria, I've said this with the local mayor in Memphis, who's a Democrat, with our governor, and certainly in the White House. It doesn't matter whether there's an R or a D behind your name. As public servants, our job is to deliver public safety. And that's a fundamental premise of government. We've got to do that. And I'm glad to see this taking hold in Memphis. The city's been overwhelmed by crime for too long, and we are sending some very hardcore criminals way out of our state.
Senator, let me move on to Japan, because you were the former ambassador to Japan in the first Trump administration. The woman poised to become Japan's next prime minister, Sanai Takaichi, pardon me.
Takaichi.
Takaichi, thank you. She's gaining new momentum this week after her party reportedly agreed to form a new coalition within a minor party, confirming the Liberal Democrat Party would join forces with the minor party. She shares a stance on China and opposition to mass migration with President Trump. They're calling her a Margaret Thatcher #2. What are your expectations for what she can do with President Trump? As I'm looking at the rest of the free world, and I'm saying they're adopting the Trump agenda.
Yeah, I think she's going to be a great fit with President Trump. I'd say this: President Trump has enjoyed a great relationship with every prime minister in Japan. When I was ambassador, we had a great relationship with Prime Minister Abe. We've got a great new ambassador now, George Glass, who's come in a very tough time. If you think about what happened the past 4 years under Joe Biden, that neighborhood has gotten much more difficult again. Look at what China's been doing, their aggression in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait. North Korea's back at it again. So we're going to have a strong presence in that area. And having Takaichi as the new leader of the LDP, which looks to be the case, that'll be decided very soon. I think she's going to make a great partner for President Trump, and a very important alliance, one that's becoming more important every day.
Well, she seems really cool to me. She was a drummer. She was. I see that she likes to play the drums. She also is the first female prime minister we've seen in Japan. A very masculine economy as it begins with. Look, I also spoke with the president about the Biden era FBI and its quote unquote Operation Arctic Frost. You were one of 8 senators or 7 senators who were spied on over communications surrounding January 6th, and you told me this is the 3rd time it's happened to you. Watch this.
We've got reports that Congress collected 30 million lines of phone data during the January 6th investigation. They tapped the phones of 8 sitting lawmakers. What can you do to prevent this kind of surveillance? And how high up the chain did this go?
I think it went right up to the top. And I think it started with Obama. with Comey going up and giving me a briefing in 2016, 2015, the end of 2015 and 2016. And then I said to him, who knows about this? He said, President Obama, his wife, and Joe Biden. They sat in the Oval Office talking about it. But it went all the way through. Obama was involved, Biden was involved, everybody.
Senator, your reaction, you were spied on, right?
Yeah, it seems to be a Democrat playbook move. And I haven't shared this with the president, but as I mentioned to you earlier, Maria, it happened to me back in the Clinton administration. I'd served a fellowship under Vice President Quayle, a young guy at the White House, just for a short period of time. My personnel files wound up in Hillary Clinton's office. You may remember that scandal.
Wow.
And then you roll forward. I worked, I was one of President Trump's finance chairs. I came in to help him in Trump Tower the day after the election, was up there for a couple of months. We were surveilled there in Trump Tower by Comey in the Obama White House.
Wow.
And then here we go again. I've been surveilled by the Biden DOJ and FBI under Jack Smith's, unbelievably partisan activity going after nothing but Republicans. I have no idea what the predicate would be, except for the fact that we're all allies of President Trump. We stand with President Trump as we have. And again, they have just been way beyond the pale in terms of their overreach. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I've reached out to Verizon, who disclosed my records without acknowledging that to me, without informing me. I want to know why. I'm looking at every legal angle as well. I think there's going to have to be great accountability here, Maria, and I'm looking forward to getting to the bottom of this.
Well, that's incredible that Verizon just gives up your records and they don't even tell you. I mean,
it is
what's
incredible.
that about? Is it they were just bullied by the Biden administration?
You would think that they would see that they're nothing but Republicans' records that have been requested. This is a highly partisan person in Jack Smith. Anybody that reads the papers would know that. And for them to just turn around and hand it over, it almost makes them look complicit in it. So we're going to have to get to the bottom of this.
Well, we're going to call Verizon, and we're going to see what they want to say about that on this charge that they just gave up records without checking with you, and it's your records. We will call Verizon. Look, I got to get your take on the government shutdown now. Day 20. This is the third longest funding lapse in modern history. Meanwhile, 80% of the federal agency charged with protecting the U.S. nuclear stockpile set to be furloughed in the coming days. The U.S. federal court system will begin reducing non-essential functions while furloughing some employees starting today. Senator, what do you want to say about this? I mean, the Senate is going to reconvene again today, right, to vote on a measure ending this. Do you think you'll be successful?
We'll be back tonight voting on it, just as you say, Maria. We've already gone through this 10 times, and the Democrats have voted to keep the government shut down 10 times over. Again, we're on our 20th day. I think Chuck Schumer is playing Russian roulette with America's safety. You talk about our nuclear arsenal. You think about our Customs and Border Patrol, law enforcement around the country that are working their hearts out, as I mentioned, in Memphis and across the nation. We've got to really think hard about what the Democrats are trying to do here. Chuck Schumer is staging this. It's political theater. They want a $1.5 trillion ransom to reopen the government. This is so beyond the pale. And if you think about whose interest he's putting first, he wants to put the interest of health care, free health care for illegal immigrants, or for people who are able-bodied, ahead of those interests of our military, of our law enforcement officers, of people who are risking their lives every day. It's a shame.
Yeah. And that's what President Trump said, something that he's not going to do. Senator, it's great to see you. Thank you, sir. We will be watching this
Maria.
stare
Great
down.
to be with you.
We'll be right back.